Galatians 5, look at verse 16. How do I stop giving into the flesh? Here we go. But I say, Paul, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. You see that? It is not about you trying harder. It is not about your willpower. It is walking by the Spirit, and here's what will happen. You'll stop sinning as much. He continues, he says, listen, for the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. He continues on, for these are opposed to each other to keep you from doing the things that you want to do. You are led by the Spirit. You are not under the law. Now let me illustrate. So imagine that these two bricks represent sin. We'll say this brick represents covetousness, and this brick represents lying. And these are sins as a justified person that I've struggled to change. And so the person that says, hey, as a Christian, I'm going to try harder. Now, you're intelligent people, I know that. There is a law that if I drop these bricks, they'll hit the ground and scatter. What is the law that causes this to happen? It's the law of what? Gravity. And so for a Christian to think that in their flesh, by their own willpower, I can defy the law of sin and death, I already know I can't. But a Christian doesn't want to sin anymore. So what they do is they'll get out of their bed, and those two sins that they struggle with, their flesh will be waiting for them. And so they'll come and they'll be saddled with them. And so what we think is, I don't want to covet and I don't want to lie. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to defy the law of gravity, and I'm going to do my best to defy the law. Now, look, I'm winning, right? I'm not coveting. I'm not, what was that? Lying. Thank you. Now I'm winning. Now how long do you think I can hold these up like this? Yeah, hey, gun show. There you go, right there, right? Okay. How long do you think I can hold these up? Who said an hour? I got 5 minutes in first service, right? They're laughing. Okay, but eventually, you see my arm shaking? Anybody? Okay. Eventually, what's going to happen to my effort is I'm trying to hold covetousness and lying up. What? I'm going to fail. And so I'm going to fail. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and those sins are still going to be there, right? And I'm going to come and I'm going to have to pick them up. What's going to happen? I'm going to fail. And have you noticed that it's getting harder? And do you really think that I only have 2 bricks that I have to kind of hold up in my life? Yes or no? And for some of you, this pattern has become so exhausting that you don't even try. That you have come to the conclusion that I can't win. And you have stopped even resisting. I want to offer to you a solution, the biblical solution, that winning the war on sin is not about winning a war, it's sharing in the victory that Christ has already done for you. That I am incapable of holding these bricks up. But there's another law. It's the law of Christ. It's the law that Christ died to free you from the burden and the pressure of trying to live your faith out this way. And so here's literally what God says to do. You take these sins and you defy them with another law instead of trying. When did God defeat sin? When? When did it happen? When did it happen? Jesus paid it. When did he pay it all? 2,000 years ago in Calvary. When was the war with sin won? Do those still tempt me? Absolutely. But now I have a freedom to live in such a way where I don't feel the weight and the pressure of trying. And the only reason, hear me, positionally, the only reason these things ever come back and oppress me like this is when I give sin permission. I literally, they're available, but I choose to pick them up. And today, Paul says, listen, even if this is you, there is no condemnation, but you will never experience shared victory over sin on a practical basis until you take your sin that has already been paid for, that the control has already been freed from you, and put it on the cross. Isn't that good? Isn't that rich? And imagine next week where I am tempted, but by the power of Jesus Christ, and there's no fear of condemnation, I'm free from the law of sin and death. And it's not about trying. It really is about walking, listening to the Spirit. How many of you believe this to be true? Then here's what Paul would say. Live it. Live it. Live it. Because in your mind, you are weighed down, trying, disappointed, trying, frustrated, trying. And God says, this is true. This is a lie. This is your identity, not this.